Well, in a minute, I'll be talking to Vera Baird, the former Solicitor General and now Police and Crime Commissioner for Northumbria. But first, joining us from Cardiff is Chief Constable Jeff Farrer, the lead for crime and statistics at the Association of Chief Police Officers. Let's tackle this head-on, Jeff Farrer. Is a culture of disbelief why so many rape investigations are dropped?
No, I don't think it is. I mean, I think there's an issue about recording and there's an issue about investigation, and they're not one and the same thing. We do know that there's been a significant increase in reporting of rapes. It's 17% up on the statistics that you've got available today, and it does increase. However, we still know from Home Office research that probably 85% of rapes go unreported to the police, and, you know, that's not good enough, and we need to do more with that. But
those are the statistics, but are you saying that a culture of disbelief doesn't play any part in the fact that so many rape investigations are dropped?
No, I think the statistics today show that how rape offences are being recorded does differ across the country, and there is an inconsistency. The Home Office county rules are quite clear that if on the balance of probability an offence appears to have been committed, it should be recorded as a crime. Part of the problem here is that some forces are interpreting that in different ways, so that some will investigate the offence and then decide to crime it, and others will just crime it in the first place on face value.
But isn't there also a possibility that some forces are more willing to believe rape victims than others?
Well, I think across the country we've got a difference in that some forces have got specialist teams that investigate rape. My own has, for example. And there's other places around the country who've got specialist trained officers. You know, that's the key, is that you've got people who understand what they're dealing with and critically work with the SARCs that you've heard about already, rape crisis, victim support. You know, that really has to be the key, that it's a joint effort on this and not just the police.
Do you believe that victims across the country can have absolute confidence in how the police are dealing with rape investigations?
Well, you know, my message would clearly be we are recording more rapes than we've ever done. That has to be a positive thing. You've heard all the information around numbers on crimes and targets. Actually, it has to be success that we are recording more offences. And what we are seeing is that more historic cases are being brought forward. That does tend to suggest that people who've been raped previously are now coming forward and reporting those. Well, that has to be a good thing. There is more to be done, though.
Jeff Farrer, I might come back to you in a minute, but let me bring in Vera Baird here. Success story, according to Jeff Farrer there.
I think empty words, to be frank with you. There may be slight recording differences between police forces. It's up to ACPO to get that straight if that's what's getting wrong. But that's not going to account for the difference between 3% of rape allegations no crimed in one area and 1/3 of all the allegations no crimed. That means someone comes in and makes an allegation, the police say, that's not a crime. We're taking it absolutely no further. This has much more to do with the quality of that decision. It's also much more to do, historically, I fear, with the motive of the officer making the decision. It's very well known to rape campaigners that no criming has been historically used to just push away cases which is better not to record because you don't think that they're going to succeed in conviction.
So in other words, the police forces are, as we've had reported to MPs last year, for example, police forces are sort of massaging the figures to make their performance look better.
Well, there's obviously such a massive difference between the figures that it's not accountable for some, you know, some recording error that nobody's ever bothered to straighten out. And look, there is a 34% conviction rate in one area and only a 5% conviction rate in another police area. That's nothing to do with the recording figures. That's to do with a very different approach and different quality of outcomes in different areas. I think the only thing, with great respect to him, the ACPO officer was right about is that if you look across the country, reporting is going up. In the poor areas where there's low reporting, that's because there's no confidence in the police. Well, and they need to work very hard to build that. And I think, you know, just dismissing this kind of figure is not going to give anyone any confidence that they're looking at the real issues.
Well, do you think victims should have confidence in your area? Because, I mean, in Northumbria, 20% of rape investigations are dropped.
Absolutely. We're sort of in the middle, and what I've done... and
it's quite a high end, really.
It is. What the police and crime commissioners who've asked for these figures, that's why we've got them force by force now, and I'm one of those police and crime commissioners are going to do, is I hope exactly what I've just done. I've requested all 36 27 of those no crime files from my chief constable, and I intend to look at each and every one and see what the quality of that decision making was. And I suggest that that's done and that we could report back to ACPO when we've got some conclusions from members of the public like ourselves, elected to represent the public and not police officers.
Well, Jeff Farrar, I know you don't want to debate this issue because you're the sort of statistics man, but just let me get you to respond to what Vera Baird said there. Empty words, she says.
Well, the one thing I'd say, you know, this isn't empty words. I absolutely said at the start, there's more to be done. And we'd really appeal to people to come forward and report it, because we work collaboratively on this, together with Rape Crisis, together with the SARCs, together with health services, to ensure that we're giving the best possible service we can. But we shouldn't confuse statistics with service. And statistics are one thing, and the consistency on those may be a question. But the service being provided, yes, it can improve. It does vary across 43 forces. But I think to make a judgment about empty words for the service is very unfair.
Jeff Farrar, Vera Baird, thank you very much for joining me.